Welcome everyone to the Sideline Report. I'm Marvin Jackson. Coming up, we take a look at Washington's loss to Arizona last weekend. We also have an update on the Baltimore Ravens and all the good things they're doing up there. But coming up right now, we have a special guest, and she's going to join me, Lou Holder, and Donna Hopkins, our regulars. And the special guest is someone that I'm sure you've heard of. And her name is Julie Donaldson. She is the Senior Vice President for Media for the Washington football team. Thanks for joining us out of your busy schedule, Julie.
Glad to be here. I mean, look, I've been good friends with Lou for quite a while. We've done shows dating back probably since I first got here. Lou, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Senior Vice President, that sounds so good to hear, though. It sounds so good to hear.
It kind of
Tell
does.
us a little more about your background, Julie.
I was going to say that does have a little ring to it, doesn't it? Yeah, I gotta keep it real. It's the only way I know how to do it. So look, I'm from Florida. I went to the University of Florida. Always had a dream to be in television, and sports was just the easy, natural fit. So, I started out early on just doing whatever I could to get going, in this business. When you're hungry, you just have to work at everything. Doing all those odd jobs, working the crazy hours, doing multiple jobs at the same time, whatever it is, till you can get where you want to go. Started out working in Miami, ended up going to the opportunity to go to New York City and then to Boston proper. And then I came here, and I've been in this market for 10 years, just anchoring shows, hosting shows, every year asking for something new to do within the realm of it. And did not think that would lead me up to here, but really every move, every job just primed me perfectly for this one.
All right, Lou.
Yeah, I mean, everybody sees this success that you've had, or success that you are now having, Julie, but nobody knows the grind and what you have sacrificed more than Donna and myself and people who have seen you every day for the last 10 years. So this is well-deserved. And we are so proud that the opportunity has been given to somebody that's so deserving of it. I guess the first question I want to ask is, what is your plan to make the media for the Washington football team your own? I know before it was under a regime of somebody else, but now they have tasked you into bringing the Washington football viewing experience to another level with another set of fans, and you have this great opportunity to influence the next generation of people watching this franchise. So what is your plan, and how are you going about that each day, building something, building content, building a brand, a media brand that's going to take this franchise into the next stage?
We hit the ground running. I mean, when I was offered this job, it was very quick before, it wasn't very long before the season was up and going, and the shows went dark and we had to create them quickly. That was really a fun part. I've been doing these shows my whole life. So it was really fun to be able to say, it's going to be your show. How do you want to do it? These are the shows we have. And because I've been here for 10 years and know the fan base, it's like, well, this is what I believe the fan base would like and what they would really react to and respond to, and especially during the world we're living in, COVID, they're very limited to the access they can get. So it's been a lot of fun creating the shows, and we're still kind of evolving them as we go, saying, that didn't work so well. Let's try this. Or, this segment's good, but we need to put more content, more meat into it, or a little more, something else that I think the fans could really hold on to. It's been easy. It's been fun. I have a great partner that I'm working with, Marcus Stevenson. He came in the fall. He's been around the business for quite a while, and he's just like this creative genius, and he's so much fun to work with. And together we just sat down on the couch and said, what about this segment? What about that? And before you know it, we had Washington football today with Julie Donaldson. We had Go Off Washington, which Fred Smoot is a part of. Perfect for him. That show just aired the other day on Monday on NBC Sports Washington. And it's such a fun show. And then we have the coach's show, which we call the Ron Rivera show. And coach had his own ideas because, he played in the Bears and played under Mike Ditka, and Ditka had his own show. And he said, I kind of want it to be a little nostalgic towards that. So we created the show that we thought that he would really enjoy and love to get into, because that's what it's supposed to be. This is entertainment. People should really love what you're asking of them to do, and he wants to bring a player into that. So it's not just him. It's him and a player, and then he'll have Jack Del Rio be a part of it, Scott Turner be a part of it. So we took what he wanted and just molded it around him. As well, we have a kickoff preview. Santana Moss is going to be with me. But then we also have this digital series that we're creating. And we were sitting back and looking at that. We had to get a board to try and keep it all straight, because we are doing 17 shows a week.
Wow.
A lot of shows.
Wow.
17 shows. I think I'm doing 9 of them. But the rest, we have great talent that we hired and are working through to get those up and running. So we're really just wanting to connect with the fans in a way they haven't been connected with before, give them stories they would never have had access with before, and let them know the players in a way that they haven't been able to know them before. They know what they put on the field. They know the X's and the O's, but we're going deeper. We're telling great stories. We're showing off their homes. We're showing off how they designed their cleats, opening up their Jordans, the cars that they drive, the food that they cook, while they're playing video games that they love. We're bringing out their passions and their brands and giving it all to the fans as well. So it's been a fun process. It's been a lot. We're still evolving and developing and, working on it, but it's exciting.
Hey, Julie, you're a testimony to hard work and what that hard work would pay off, that perseverance and all of those things. And you said something key. When you were talking about the shows that you all were putting together, that's a woman's touch, because some of the things that you're doing is creative as far as being in the homes, telling those stories like that. But looking a little ahead, what do you think some of the hard challenges are going to be moving forward with what you're trying to do?
The challenges, making sure we stay on top of who's doing what, when, and where.
But with those 17 shows that you're doing and 9 you're doing yourself, that's a lot in one, when you're just starting up.
Yeah, time management is a challenge. I have a really great crew with me though of we have them assigned to different shows and who's in charge of what. But, on Monday mornings, I do 3 shows after a game, so I got home from, the game since it was a little bit later and most of them aren't that late, and I still was taping stuff for the next day. So by the time I shut my computer off, it was 11 and then I'm back at work at 6 a.m. because you had to get the shows off and running. So, a lot of it's just kind of keeping it straight. The team's working really well with us on getting us access to the players because they understand how important this is and how important it is for our fan base to have that connection. The challenge is always just staying, making sure it's the right quality that we're getting and making sure it's the right content that the fans want to have and they want to consume and it's going to be relevant. And every day we're trying to come up and, stretch our minds of what can be the cool segment now, what can be the cool question now. And that just takes a lot of, mental exhaustion out of you, which is why you need a lot of good people, to help pick it up when you're a little slow or you pick them up when they are. And because with 17 shows, we're creating a lot of ideas and we're testing a lot of things and not all will work. And we're finding that, like I said, even as we're going through it now, we're having to tweak, adjust, and we went right, now we got to go left, and be able to go with that. But it's a fun process, but yeah, there'll be plenty of challenges. We're in week 2 and everybody's exhausted. So, check back in at week 16. So, yeah.
I imagine the name change and the branding is different also. And here you come right in a new brand. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think it was my second day on the job. They go, by the way, this is what we're doing today. And we want you to be the one that's going to get out there and, talk about it to everybody. I was like, okay, here are your talking points, go. I was like, sure, nothing better than jumping in the deep end, feet first and saying, I got this. It's a challenging process and it's really challenging because, I know the fan base views that word and the old name as a term of endearment, as a word of pride, of something that they feel connected to, and it's emotional. And it's very real for a lot of fans out there. So, we've seen fans, the anger that we're getting, the sadness that we're getting, the betrayal that they feel, and we're asking them to come forward with us into a new era, into something that they feel unfamiliar with. And that's a challenge, to try and say, hey, unfortunately, the name became divisive, and we can't have that in today's society. You have to have something that's going to unify people and bring everybody together and not divide. And so how do we get to what that name is? I don't know. It's going to probably take some time, because we can't afford to get it wrong. But I love that we're holding on to the tradition of, established in 1932. And it's really important to me to get the alumni involved. So you'll see in my shows, I'm almost every day, I'm trying to bring around a new alumni, and work them, really get them in, because it's important to me, because they're our connection and our ties to this franchise and to the moments that people hold on and cherish. So, that's going to be something that's important. So I don't know how long it takes. I don't know what it's going to be. But in all honesty, I just like the Washington football team, but I'm a simple classic person. I really
I
am.
like that too.
Right. I do. Hey, Julie, I do have to ask you one question. Donna and I were talking about how strange it was going to an empty stadium as a reporter. How weird has it been opening week? And then this last week, you didn't even get to go to Arizona. You were broadcasting from FedEx Field because of the COVID and everything like that. I know that you feed off of the fans, and a broadcast will feed off of the fans. How weird has it been for you not to have any fans or any spectators in an arena that you're broadcasting?
It's weird. It's very weird being there. It's like eerie, like even just driving it just didn't feel right. You're used to fighting the traffic and finding a parking spot and seeing people, having fun and celebrating before the game even, starts and kicks off. And to not have that, walking around, the stadium without people being there, it felt like you're trespassing in a sense too. So I don't know. I didn't like it. I know the players didn't like it. The coaches didn't like it. We want the fans there, and hopefully give them something to cheer for. But I will say this, for the home game, once it started, we're so hyper focused and locked in to what's happening on the field. Like that's where all the attention was, but you can feel their energy, so when they were coming back, we could feel it, we could sense it. And we got so excited. Who didn't? We're rooting for this team, and to see them marching back and realize they were going to win it. It was exhilarating, but you realize that the fans were missing out on that moment. And with that, I think there's a certain amount of sadness that they couldn't be there for that, because they haven't had a lot of those comeback victory moments, to celebrate. And then not being able to go to Arizona and having to call it off the TV screen. So we're calling it off. Everything that you're seeing at home is what we're calling it off of. That's a challenge, but you miss a lot of the storylines that you would get from watching the players on the sideline. Especially for me as the journalist in the booth, that's where I get a lot of the information, is seeing, what's happening that the TV's not capturing, and trying to paint that picture and tell that story and feel the emotion from the players and translate that through the airwaves. So it just is what it is. COVID is not nice to any of us. And it's not nice, to us being able to travel, but at least the game's going off.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Julie, for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you with us, and it's going to be great. We're excited about you being with the Washington football team. We're really excited and looking forward to working with you.
Thank you. And here's one of the best things about this job is I've made such good connections and friends in this market. I'm glad I get to just continue to build on those, and I don't have to leave, because that's really what life is about. It's the connections, the people you meet, and keeping the good people in your life. And so, I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right. Well, we're going to have you on later in the season too, if that's
Sounds
okay
good.
with you.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Julie.
Donaldson, Senior Vice President for Media for the Washington football team. So don't go away, folks. We're going to be right back. More Sideline Report up next.